to another episode of The Follow-Up. I'm Eden, this is my dad Noah, and every week for 5 years now, we've been just sitting on my bed and having a conversation about something we want to talk about. So this week, we're going to do our high, low, learn of our recent vacation to Arizona. And when I mean recent, I mean we came back on Sunday.
So we usually put these out on Mondays. It just became too much.
Saturday.
And so we're recording on Monday night. Usually comes out Monday morning, but we're recording this Monday night. We'll put it out. Yesterday was getting back into the swing of things. Built a new bookshelf in your room.
Yeah.
That took 6
So
hours. So.
But you did it.
Podcast.
Thank you.
Delays a day. All right. High, low, learn, something that Mom used to do with some of her friends when they would come back from trips, and we've done this before. So your high from the trip, the low from the trip, and something you learned.
Yeah.
Our trip was to Arizona. We spent a few days in Sedona, then the Grand Canyon, and finished it off with a night in Phoenix.
Yes.
And it was my first time in Sedona and the Grand Canyon.
Me too.
It's something I always wanted to see. I'd never really thought about Sedona, but
And
the
we've been to
Grand
Arizona,
Canyon, the Grand
but
Canyon
just
was something I always wanted to
not there.
see. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So start with your high.
Wait, I was thinking about this.
Mhm.
You always start with your high, but instead of having the low kind of towards the end, why don't we start with the low, then go to
fine.
a learn, and then end with a high?
Sounds
Not
good to me.
End on a high note.
That's a good idea.
So we're going to just start with the low, and then go to a learn, and then high.
Good idea. Okay.
The
Your
low was in Sedona. We were supposed to do a little hike, but then I was wearing like my New Balance shoes, like not
Sneakers.
hiking sneakers, not hiking shoes, nothing like that. So we were walking on this path. Starts with dirt, starts with trail, then it's dirt, and we're like, it's okay. And then it starts to get snow, and we're like, okay, we'll just see how far we're gonna go. Then we get to this crossing, and it's a creek. And we see people like climbing on the rocks to get over. They have a hiking stick, so that can at least balance them. And they're wearing traction shoes and all this stuff. And we're just like, let's turn around. We took some good photos, though.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, it was a
that
bummer.
was a little bit of a bust.
That was a bummer. My low was when we got to the Grand Canyon.
Oh, that
We
was
had to
my
wait
low.
in line for an hour and a half in the car. So we get we get to the Grand Canyon. We get to the line where you're waiting outside.
It's like the last 3 miles.
Outside of the gates, and so we're just there for an hour and a half. We moved about a mile per hour, 2 miles per hour maximum. People are getting out of their cars, and when we got up to the front, we saw that there were 5 gates, or 5 toll booths, essentially ticket-taking toll booths.
Like
and
lanes that you could drive.
Only 2 were open. So that was definitely the low because, the light just went out. Let's see if I can fix this. Let's see, will it go back on? Yeah. It's just not that bright. Okay. But the low, the real low of that was not just the wait, but when we got inside and we had lunch, I asked someone at lunch, is it really crowded? He said, actually we are pretty much at capacity. I said, because it took a long time to get in. He said, well, yeah, the administration fired 4 people at the front, which just makes no sense. So you're ruining you're hurting the experience for people who want to come support one of the great natural wonders.
Yeah,
in the
and it
world.
wasn't like there were only like 100 people there.
No.
Like it was like a lot of people wanting to go.
It's ridiculous. So that was my low, was the wait, and also that people lost their jobs.
Yeah, and also, I'm just giving a reference of how slow we were going. It was about 3 miles. Okay, so this man, he walked out of his car, and he got there to the front. I think he walked to the front, because I didn't see him come back. He was walking, like, I think, 6 miles an hour.
How do you know?
Because we were going 1 mile an hour.
Okay.
He was just like, and
Pardon
he
me.
wasn't it's okay, maybe a little less, but he was just walking at his pace. Seems a little fast, but it probably just seemed fast because we were not moving, and he just sped in front of us.
Okay.
Okay, bad point.
I wouldn't.
Bad point.
I wouldn't say that like adds context.
Yeah, but I'm
to
just
it.
saying that a person was going off.
I mean, we were
faster than
actually
us.
we were actually going 1 or 2 miles per hour
Yeah.
because we saw it in the car.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty much all the context.
Okay. Well, that just didn't end up how I wanted to go, but that's okay.
It's okay. All right. So your learn.
My learn was we in Sedona we took a pink Jeep tour, and we did the ancient ruins one, and I learned about the ancient tribes that were there and how a lot of how they were communicating was through painting on the walls, and there were symbols that showed certain things, and each tribe used a different color because they were there at different times, and if they wanted something really bold, they would use a bolder color so people could see it far away, and I would have never thought of that.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting. I don't remember the names of the tribes that were there.
Yavapai.
I thought Yavapai was in. Well, maybe, but they were definitely in the Grand Canyon.
The Apache was later.
But what was neat was that they had these. The fact that you could even see these things from thousands of years ago, still on the rocks, on the red rocks, and so one of them it was like a big white circle that seemed to be something, as the guy said, something like a store. Like, okay, find us here, come here, and we will trade you this. And then next to it was a man with his arms down, and our guide said he believes that would be that I don't have weapons. I'm here, and we're a peaceful people.
Yeah.
So it was remarkable to see just how intact these pictures were from thousands of years ago, and
nothing is like, oh, we exactly know what this means. It's all guesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Because no one's alive from 1,000 years ago.
Exactly. It was pretty spectacular. My learn was that aside from just how massive the Grand Canyon is, and from every angle too, I just couldn't believe it. But was that there are still Indian tribes living in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
So it was the
Native American tribes.
Yes. Okay.
You should
so
call it that.
there were Native American tribes still living in the Grand Canyon. I think it's the Havasupai, the Supai village and the Havasupai tribe, I believe, are the ones that live in the Grand Canyon, and they still get their mail from mules, like the donkeys, the mules come down with the mail, and so not only are there descendants of the original tribes of the Grand Canyon, 11 tribes have lived there, at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. There are other people who work at the park, who live at the park. I did not know that either.
Yeah.
So they live in the park. There's a big general store, which is a supermarket. What did we call it? A budget Buc-ee's. If you've ever been to Buc-ee's, yeah.
Without all the Buc-ee's stuff.
Yeah. And then there's a post office.
And that was right near our lodge where we were staying. There was the post office, a library. There was the general store.
So people live there. Yeah, which I just didn't think about, that it's all part of the national park. I just didn't realize how big the park is. And the park is, I think you can fit like 5 or 6 New York cities in the park.
Are those 8?
Whatever it is. In the park.
Yeah.
Which is also nuts.
Like, New York City is one of the most populated. It's the most populated city.
Right. Yeah, but clearly not the biggest, just the most popular.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you're going to this park, and you're like, and when you're there, you feel it's big because there's so many people. And then you're like, oh, 8 New York cities can fit over here. You're like,
crazy.
Wow.
And even just the length of the Colorado River, that inside the canyon is 277 miles of the Colorado River.
And I think we were the South Rim. The North Rim doesn't open, I think, till May. But North Rim is only, I learned this yesterday, the North Rim's about 12 miles away.
Okay.
I think across. But to drive, it would be like over 300 miles to get around.
Jeez. So we did some great hikes there and enjoyed all the scenic views. It really did. And some of the restaurants and things, it felt like I was being back in time, and I really enjoyed the day on Thursday, where Thursday is considered to be the greatest day on the sports calendar. First day of the NCAA tournament, games wall to wall. You expect upsets, crazy day. Didn't watch a second, and it was awesome. Just there at the Grand Canyon.
And you were like in the moment.
Yeah, just with you
Enjoy.
guys there at the Grand Canyon, enjoying the scene, enjoying the scenery, enjoying all the natural beauty of it all. Okay, your high.
Okay, so I was having a really hard time on my high, so I chose an overall high. Grand Canyon.
Okay.
That's my high.
Okay.
I loved everything we did there. It was a great place from the visitor center where we watched a cool movie about the people who live in the Grand Canyon and everyone who did live there, and how it's such a special place too, especially the people who live there or did live there, and how that carries tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And then also to the hike we did, and we went to the Ooh-Ah Point. I think that's what it was
on
called.
the South Kaibab Trail.
Yeah, and that was so much fun. And
What was fun about that hike?
the lookout point was great.
It was about a mile hike. So let's
was,
put
like,
this
different than
let's
I'd
put this
done
in
before.
perspective here. So the canyon itself, if you're just to go straight down,
It's 7 miles down that track.
no, if you're just to go straight down, it's about just over a mile straight down. But this we obviously you didn't go like this.
It's 7 miles on that path.
So on this path we did about a mile on that path, and it took about 45 minutes, 50 minutes down, and about 25 minutes back up.
Yeah.
Right. And there were some icy spots, and there was some mud.
But it wasn't that bad.
And you're close to the edge.
Yeah, but it was different than something I'd done before.
Right, exactly.
I liked it.
My heart was beating a few times.
Oh, I really liked it.
Well, it was beating the whole time, but it was
I
beating
really
harder
liked
a few
it.
times.
I really liked it.
Me too. Me too.
And we went to some really good restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some really good food.
Yeah, all in the canyon.
Yeah, all in the canyon.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
What about
that
you?
was going to be my high.
Oh.
Okay. But I
Think of
will.
something else.
I will switch that then to horseback riding
That was
in Sedona. I'm leaving out, and I know it's crazy. I'm leaving out a basketball game, but I'm leaving out going to Suns Cavs Friday night in Phoenix, and going to Pizzeria Bianco. And that Rosa pizza with
Well, now you're not leaving it out.
the mozzarella, parmesan, rosemary, red onion, and pistachios. Anyway,
You're just not leaving it out.
Sedona,
now.
the horseback riding. I hadn't been on a horse since I was, I don't know, 13 maybe, I think, at camp. So about 30 years. And you'd never been on a horse. And now I feel like I could, I mean, it was like a horse walk,
Yeah.
but I feel like now I could go for a trot on a horse. I felt like I was on Bella. I felt like I was in control of Bella, even though she was just following Domino right in front, which was Mom's horse. and you did a really nice job on Rain, your horse. And I felt, I really liked it because even though I felt at first, oh my God, I'm not going to be in control of this beast that I'm sitting on here.
A horse is not a beast. A horse is a lovely animal.
Yeah, but it's it's like driving a car, but not
Yeah, but
being
they're
able to control anything. But once they said,
can.
yeah, here's what you do, here's how you keep your legs, and the whole time I was just petting Bella the whole time. And I liked going we went across the water,
yeah, that was fun.
across a creek, and that went pretty deep. That might have been my high, but I enjoyed all of it. So that's our high, low, learn. Okay. Lastly,
Yes.
a quick update. We did win the regular season for Fantasy Hoops. So we had a bye in the first round.
Semifinals starts today.
Yeah, so we had a bye in the first round. Semifinals start today.
We're playing the 5th.
It is difficult not having Victor Wembanyama. It's difficult with Jalen Williams being hurt, with Damian Lillard being hurt. So top three players are out.
And Trey
So-
Murphy, the third.
Well, yeah, Trey Murphy's out. He's out
he's
for
good
the
for us.
year. So anyway, it's going to be an uphill battle, but we feel good about it.
Yeah.
And NCAA tournament, last year you won our pool in the apartment.
Yeah.
You have Florida beating
Duke.
in the championship game. I have Florida beating Houston in the championship game. As we record this right now, I'm leading, and you
But how many points?
will. I don't know, but
I think 6.
you will have to come up with. I mean, we had a present for you last year when you won.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that if I win or Mom wins, you got to come up with something.
Okay.
All right.
I'm capable.
Okay. So that's that update. And
Yeah.
it was kind of wild at the top. You said for 5 years now. It's almost been 5 years. We first recorded and we held it, and we released it in June of 20. But we first recorded it in April of 20. So we're almost coming up on 5 years of conversations.
It won't be the next episode because we'll film it on Sunday probably, and that'll be.
It'll still be March, but yeah, I think it's the
It'll
middle
still
of
be
April.
March, but
I think it's middle of April.
it'll probably be like maybe
middle
2 or
of
3
April.
podcasts.
Yeah, it's wild. 5 years.
Yeah.
Of conversations.
That's crazy.
You can still want to talk to me in another 5 years on your bed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Me too.
All right. I love you very much.
Love you.